Well, thanks for inviting me here. I don't know why I haven't come to one of those meetings previously. I've been with AgriLife for a year and a half now. And when Jan asked me to speak, tell talk to Master Naturalist about wildlife stewardship, I thought, what am I going to tell Master Naturalist about wildlife stewardship? They could teach me. Oh, by the way, your camera's not tracking. Just in case that's important.
All right, buddy. Get off to a good start.
It keeps going back that way, but that's all right.
Is it following it?
It should be, yeah.
Well, maybe.
Hyman's adjusting it now.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought about what I do and the interactions I've had with some master naturalists, and did a little research to learn more about what AgriLife does in relation to wildlife stewardship and habitat and working with master naturalists. So I found some information, put it together, and I'll share with y'all what I learned and tell you a little bit about what I do. And then I really just like to tell stories, so that hopefully this part doesn't bore you. So I love the title, From Fields to Habitat.
I can hear it.
And I didn't come up with that, by the way. I think Jan did. Great title. So I did find the pictures. I thought, okay, fields, there's a cotton field, and there's a rangeland pasture or something, natural field. So natural habitat there. So I thought that was fitting. And then I think there we go. So this is what I learned. AgriLife's Extension's role in wildlife stewardship is providing, it says county level experts. I'm not really an expert in wildlife habitat, but we have a A&R agent. He's a little bit newer than me. Just started a few months ago, Rowdy Sandoval. I'm sure some of you have met him. So he is really your primary point of contact, along with Brandy Rader, our master naturalist, master gardener coordinator. But I'm happy and eager to work with master naturalists because I love the mission of the master naturalist program, and also all the great volunteers. And I see there's some super volunteers in here. Some of them I recognize that are both master naturalists and master gardeners. So,
Who are both?
yeah, raise your hand if you're a master gardener and a master naturalist. Yeah, there's
A few.
4 or 5 of them. Yeah, 6. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for your service and everything you do for both organizations. So some of the things that we do is help landowners adopt science-based practices in conservation programs, agricultural practices, and outreach, which is what y'all are doing all the time. Outreach with community and educating them on wildlife and natural resources. And we often do that through workshops, publications, and connecting landowners with research and best practices. And I looked on AgriLife's site, and I was surprised. There actually are a lot of AgriLife publications and resources for natural resource management and wildlife management. And I'll talk about a little bit of that. So, core conservation focus areas for AgriLife are water conservation, drought mitigation, land stewardship, wildlife management, pesticide safety, and soil and water testing. I know pesticide safety, when y'all hear that, you probably think, well, we shouldn't be using those, but we do. Our farmers and our gardeners sometimes do have to use pesticides. So AgriLife has a very active program to ensure that they understand how to safely use them, not just for their own safety, but for the safety of the environment. So we encourage using IPM, integrated pest management practices, with the least invasive practices possible first, using cultural and mechanical means for pest control over going straight to chemicals. So it's an important area where we help educate farmers and gardeners on using pesticides. So conservation programs, one of the big ones is the Earth Kind landscape program. I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with that. You're a master gardener, you're definitely familiar with it. And it combines best practices from traditional gardening and organic methods to help gardeners be more use water more efficiently, plant native and adaptive plants that consume less water, and helps to it helps them to be more responsible in their, and not just gardeners but homeowners too, particularly when it comes to landscape management. If we can educate people on earth kind principles and they use less water, less fertilizers and pesticides in their lawns, then that helps to protect the environment and prevent a lot of runoff and stuff. And then also another big conservation program is rangeland and wildlife management, and that's to help support native and wildlife habitat. So there is a program area in AgriLife called Rangeland Wildlife and Fisheries Management Extension, and their program areas are fisheries and aquaculture science, rangeland science and management, and wildlife conservation management. So I looked at that side a little bit and learned some interesting things. I'm sure some of you are probably very familiar with it. And so how does AgriLife Extension work with Master Naturalist? So I won't read the slide to you, but just to kind of summarize it, we partner with AgriLife Extension partners with Master Naturalists and Master Gardeners to educate the public and provide support through coordination and conservation programs. And as y'all know, y'all have an office 2 doors down. So anybody's looking for me, I'm just 2 doors down from y'all extension office. And of course, we have Brandy who helps coordinate all the volunteer stuff. And that's I look at our monthly reports and that Brandy does, because I can see everything that she puts. We have a system called Tame where we have to put in everything we do. And I see everything Brandy puts in there. And I look and she's got all these entries. I'm like, wow, when does she have time for all that? It's mostly what y'all are doing. It's all this Master Naturalist stuff. It's like, oh, this organization is really busy.
I can't.
So I'll talk more about that. I wanted to go through these slides. So I had some kind of a structure to kind of show y'all what I learned about how Master Naturalists and AgriLife work together. But I wanted to share a couple stories with y'all as well. So this is my program area of focus. So I'm a horticulture agent. I'm AgriLife horticulture agent, but I also handle row crops, which is unique. I've been told that I am the only horticulture agent in the state of Texas that also handles row crops. So normally your ag natural resource agent works with the row crop farmers. But when I came on board, Dr. Resler asked me if I would work with row crop farmers. So I want to put everything plant related under me. I said, sure, I'm up for the challenge. It's a tough crowd to break into, but I've been gaining their respect and trust slowly. I just did a first program with our row crop farmers. It was a crop scouting school. So I had some specialists come down and we went out to one of the farmers' properties, his barn, and talked about how to look for pests, insects in different crops and all the commodity crops, cotton, grain, corn, sorghum, and rice. And I also do stuff with sustainable agriculture and small farm support. So that's really my passion. I'm a gardener and I grow vegetables and I'm a beekeeper. And I really like to try to support people that like to grow vegetables, particularly if they're trying to grow vegetables to sell to farmers market, supplement their income, or share with the community of their neighbor, whether it's a community garden or a small for-profit farm. So I'll talk more about that in a minute. But these are the programs that I have. So I have 2 in-depths and 1 outreach program right now. And so these are educational programs. They're a series of events. One of them is home food production, and it's primarily a master gardener program. So it's in coordination with the master gardeners. They plan it, run it, teach it, and I just support them. And I get to record everything and write reports about it. They do a lot of great work. So we have a series, educational series called Grow Your Own. So 7 classes a year. They teach the public about gardening. And then we have a annual fruit tree sale, which is an outreach. It's a fundraiser and outreach program. We usually get 400 or 500 people come and buy fruit trees. And we talk to them about what fruit trees grow well in our area and how to plant them. And we also have 2 vegetable and herb sales every year. And same thing, people come out and they buy some really nice vegetable plants. It's amazing what Mary and the Buckleys and all the other master gardeners that contribute to that growth. Every time I see those vegetable plants, I'm like, wow, I can't grow vegetable plants that look like that. They get a lot of love in the greenhouse. And then I have another program, in-depth program called Home Landscape Management. And that's where the Earth Kind principles come in. So it's a online series of classes on Zoom. It's 7 classes a year, talk about landscape management principles. And we also do an annual butterfly celebration, which we just had last Saturday. Great event. I think we usually get 400 or 500 people that come out to that as well. And it's based on Earth Kind landscape demonstration. Master gardeners showcase the demonstration gardens around the extension office and have activities for families and kids. Really great event. And then we do landscape tree promotions, where we go out to farmers markets and give away trees and talk to people about trees and how to plant them and trees that grow well in our area. And I think they try to get trees that are native or adapted to our area. And then I have a general ag natural resource outreach program. And the biggest educational program in that outreach is our regional vegetable conference, which we just had in February. That was our 41st annual vegetable conference. And this year we had the biggest one we've had so far. We had 469 people attend. Wow. We had it at the epicenter. It's been at the fairgrounds for 40 years. And I decided to move to the epicenter and try to, step it up a little bit and try to get more people and make it a little bit nicer. So lots of we had 25 speakers, so 25 different presentations, 5 tracks.
Check your messages.
And then the other outreach programs I have is our annual pecan show and the Richmond Pecan Harvest Festival. So people that grow pecans, whether it's an orchard, which we really don't have any commercial orchards in Fort Bend County anymore. I think Wiley Hatcher was the last one, and he's passed, and I think his orchard got sold to a developer, unfortunately. But we have lots of people that have small acreage or just a pecan tree in their yard, and they want to showcase the pecans that they grew. That's what it's all about. It's about teaching people how to grade pecans, how you tell what type of pecan and quality. So that's a fun event. And then we always set up an educational booth at the Richmond Pecan Harvest Festival. And that's in partnership with Master Naturalists, Master Gardeners. And this last year, we had the Fort Bend Wildlife Rescue organization out there. That was really cool. I mean, that was very popular. Everyone loves seeing the animals. Yeah. So I talked to them the other day. They're going to come back again. And we're going to look at trying to do some more things together with them. And then the other outreach program I have is our Master Gardener Help Desk. So that help desk is such a great resource for me, because they help me answer calls from the public and respond to emails about horticulture issues. whether it's, ornamentals, landscape, tree issues, and we get those calls all the time. So the help desk is really an extension of our horticulture agent. Without that help desk, that's all I would do, is sit there all day long and answer calls and respond to emails about homeowners, landscape issues. So those are my primary programs. So I'll talk in a minute about another program I have. But I wanted to just briefly talk about how I work with traditional farmers, row crop farmers. So this picture, I found this picture on the AgriLife site, and I used it intentionally. So it's some kind of a crop field with a drone flying over it. And the reason I use that is because there's becoming a lot more interest in using drones in agricultural applications and traditional row crop applications. Spray drones have been around for a while. Some farmers use them, but not a whole lot. However, in an urbanized county, we have a lot of farmers that are getting surrounded by neighborhoods, so they can't fly airplanes. When they use a tractor with a big spray rig, they have to be really careful so they don't get drift. So drones are an effective way to target spray and minimize drift and minimize the amount of chemicals that they're putting out. In fact, I just had a meeting with some folks about this. I was out at one of our row crop farmers' property a couple weeks ago planning for this scout school I did, and they were talking about our Corpus Christi Research and Extension Center doing a satellite moisture mapping project at their farm. So they're using satellites with infrared cameras to measure moisture levels in a row crop field. Interesting. I didn't know that they were doing this program. So I said, hey, who's heading this up? So the farmer told me the name, and I reached out to him, a couple specialists down there, and I asked him more about it and said, I'd like to be involved. I want to learn more about this. Well, at the same time, that same day or the next day, I got an email from a kid who was doing a project. It was a science project. He built a drone for measuring moisture in farm fields. He was looking to connect with some farmers. I was like, oh, perfect timing. Well, this kid he built a DIY drone and put a moisture probe on it, and he built an analytical model. That was the impressive part. To analyze, to be able to fly the drone over a farm, land it, take moisture readings at different spots, and then analyze the overall moisture level of a farm field. And that can have different applications. It can indicate when and how much seed or where they plant, potential fungal issues, lots of applications for that. So this kid entered this drone he built in the poster board that he created, which has got all the data from his own analytical model, and the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Science and Engineering Fair, and won second place. And he went to the state fair and won third place. And he created a website. So when he emailed me, he was very humble. He said, I was looking to connect with some farmers, and see if I can fly my drone, collect some data. I was like, well, let me talk to him. But I looked at his website and I was just blown away. So I decided I was going to be calling Dr. Landivar and Dr. Mahindra anyway to talk about the satellite moisture mapping project. I said, why don't I connect them, see if we can help advise this kid and further his research. So we got a Teams call, and also connecting with a private individual who has a startup company, someone that I connected with right before the vegetable conference. And this guy does multispectral mapping using drones of row crop fields, so he can detect like stress areas in a field. And so if you have a pest or a disease in a cotton field, for example, they can fly drones over with different cameras, and I'm not that technical, I don't know exactly how it works, but they call them multispectral cameras, and it can detect that. Then they can fly and spray, target spray. So instead of spraying the whole field, they can just spray the areas that are affected. Reduce the amount of chemicals they use, save the farmer money, save the environment. Great concept. So I had this meeting with these folks, these specialists and this kid, and had him introduce himself, talk about his project. And I asked this kid, Nathan, I said, Nathan, I assume you're a senior. Are you looking at starting doing a startup company when you graduate? Further research in college? What are you looking to do? He said, no, I'm a sophomore in high school. Yeah, he said, I just want to help the farmers. I was like, that's very noble, but somebody's gonna steal your research. Anyway, Dr. Mahindra looked at his poster board. This poster board's got charts and graphs and formulas that I didn't even understand. And he said, oh, this is very good. This is like what we see from our PhD candidates. So that's why I had the picture of the drone. Anyway, so I'm excited about that. We're gonna reconnect. I'm looking at trying to help fund some stuff for this kid to further his research, and also I'm looking at doing an educational program for the row crop farmers. Most of them know about drones. Some of them have them, but not a lot of them are using them. So I think that we can help them save money. We can help them pollute less by using drones to do target spraying and reduce the amount of chemicals that they use. So these are some of the other projects that I do with the row crop farmers. Result demonstration projects. Example, I'm doing a race, it's called a cotton race trial. It's replicated agronomic cotton evaluation. So basically, seed companies donate a bunch of seeds, different varieties of seeds. I take it to the farmer, they plant it, we collect data on it, and I write up a report. On the horticulture side, I participated in the 2025 Texas Superstar trials, and I'll be doing that again this year. And then we write up a report to say, okay, these were the ornamental plants that did the best or the most popular, and that's what we call a results demonstration report. Also for row crops, we do a couple of field days every year, crop tours or field days, and that's where a bunch of farmers get together and we have specialists come and talk to them about agronomics or pesticide use or something in row crops. Of course, we do pesticide applicator training, and the last three things, well, innovation in agriculture is kind of what I was talking about with the drones. So whenever there's an area that we can be more innovative to help the farmers, I know there's not a lot of them left in Fort Bend County, but if we can help them, they have very, very small margins. We can help them to be more profitable and help them to produce a better yield from their crops and do it more responsibly, then that's what I want to do. So that's the innovation in agriculture. The other two things, I do an annual ag increment report. That is a report on all agricultural products in the county. So the value of all agricultural products in Fort Bend County, it's everything from row crops to vegetables, which we really don't have any big vegetable growers in Fort Bend County. Could be fruit, even honey. Even there's a section there for the value of the honey crop in Fort Bend County. And being a beekeeper, I'm interested in that, and I found that no one really understood that because there's a lot of small, hobby beekeepers, and a few sideline beekeepers, but there's no big commercial beekeepers, so it's hard to get data. But it's everything. It's even cattle, hay production, well, more than that. It's even recreational things that relate to agriculture, hunting, fishing, birding, all of that goes on this report. And of course, nursery products. In fact, that is our number one agricultural product in Fort Bend County, believe it or not, is nursery products because of the proximity to the Houston market and the urbanization of Fort Bend County.
Wow.
I think for 2025, the value of the nursery products in Fort Bend County was like 86 million. And it far exceeds any other crop. I think cotton was somewhere around 12 million, which is our biggest, row crop, commodity crop. And then cattle was a little bit higher than that. There's a lot of cattle ranchers in Fort Bend County. So, and then I do a weekly crops progress report. So every week I have to go into a USDA database and report on the status of all the commodity crops in the county and the weather conditions and how they're affecting them. Okay, so this is my passion. This is what I'm working on. Sustainable agriculture and small farm support. So I'm building a new in-depth educational program, and I'm going to call it Small Farm Development Support. I came to AgriLife a year and a half ago. I was doing this. I retired from the Army and retired for about 3 years, did the Master Gardener program, became a Master Gardener because I wanted to learn more about gardening. And I was growing vegetables and raising honeybees to sell vegetables and honey at farmers market. Well, I found out there's a lot more to it than just throwing some seed in the ground and picking some vegetables. So I even did a 1-year farm training program with AgriLife called Battleground to Breaking Ground. It's for veterans and first-time farmers and ranchers. And they teach you, that was more about the business side. They teach you how to start an agricultural business. And then, of course, when I became Master Gardener, I was always volunteering for everything because I just love the organization. And I decided, you know what? I think I'll just join them. If I can just do this full time, I can share everything I've learned with other people, and I'll learn so much more because I have access to all the experts, which are a lot of them are in this room.
What you mean.
So that's why I became the horticulture agent. And I really want to develop this program. It is designed to help small farms be successful and profitable. There is really way more demand than there is supply in Fort Bend County. Every farmers market manager I talk to says their biggest challenge is getting produce vendors, getting local small farms to bring produce in. And that's because there's not a lot of people doing it, and there's not really any money in it. The people that are doing it are usually doing it as a side hustle. It's just they're retired maybe, or they just do it, because they love gardening and they sell a little bit to supplement their income. So if there's any way I can help them do that, be more successful, more profitable, that's what I want to do. Because it's all about supporting local food production and food security, and not having to depend on big grocery stores that import all their produce from Mexico or California, or maybe the Valley if you're lucky. So if we can promote more food production locally, that's what I want to do. And also orchard development. There's really no big orchards in Fort Bend County. I'd like to see some. I grow a few fruit trees, and I love growing fruit. That's why I do every year I do a grafting clinic, a fruit tree and fruit tree grafting clinic, which I'm doing May 30th at HCC Katy campus. We're going to be grafting pecans, citrus, and pears. So if you're interested, look it up on our AgriLife site or come by the office and sign up and come out to Katy it's a Saturday, May 30th. And I'm also on the Texas SARE Advisory Board. So SARE is Sustainable Agricultural Research and Education. I think so it stands for. And it's all about helping to teach people sustainable agricultural practices. Hey, so that was the end. So now, I'm not eating too much of your time. Okay. So I just want to share a couple of stories. So first, I wanted to share a story about how I learned about Master Naturalist. So when I moved out here to Rosenberg about 9 years ago, I was mowing my property. It's just 1 acre. I got a chain link hurricane fence, and behind it there was a field. And I noticed that when we first bought the property, a strip behind my fence was mowed. So I thought, okay, I'll be a good neighbor. I'll go back there and mow it. And plus, it keeps it from growing over my fence. So I went back there and I mowed back there, just a couple of strips, and I was in the middle of mowing, and some guy walks out there and he says, you know, you're on my property. I was like, no, I didn't know it's your property. I know it's not my property, but I was just, you know, trying to be a good neighbor. Well, I don't like people, I don't want you mowing it. My wife is a master naturalist. She likes them wild. I said, okay. So I told my neighbor across the street about it, and he laughed, and he said, yeah, Dick, that's Dick Hawkins. I hope his wife is missing interest. She might be in the room, might get in trouble telling the story. He said, yeah, Dick can be a little prickly when it comes to property boundaries. I said, that's exactly what I thought. Dick is a prick. Anyway, we've become very good friends. I still mow that strip, but I respect and appreciate his wife wanting to keep it natural because it's habitat for my bees.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so all the wildflowers grow up there, but you know, we just keep a little strip down, keep the rodents and snakes out of my yard. So, I just thought I would share that. And, there's a couple of other stories I wanted to share, but I don't want to get too much into Matt's time. So I was speaking with, I think it was Ramona, we were talking about, saving trees and, about developers, you know, typically they come in and they just bulldoze all the trees down and then they plant some, you know, yeah, 2 oak trees in the yard, yeah. Well, that's not all developers. So what is a tree worth? Guess it depends. Right down the road here on 36, right next to Farm Bureau, there's a small development. They're just starting to build houses on. Well, a year ago, it's April of last year, I got a call from environmental engineering, I think his name, treemovers.com. The owner of that company called me and said, hey, we're going to be moving a tree over there by your office. You want to come check it out? I was like, sure. Well, they cleared all of it except for one big oak tree, one live oak. And the developer decided that they wanted to save that tree and move it. So the plan for the plot had houses where the tree was, where they moved it to was going to be a park. So they dug around that tree and they put a platform under it with steel pipes, lifted it up, put it on big airbags, and rolled it about 200 feet.
Oh, my.
And planted it back in the ground. It was about, the diameter of the trunk is about 54 inches, about a 45-foot canopy. It's a massive tree. It survived. You can go look at it right there next to Farm Bureau. It's the only tree on that plot, and it's doing well. So I asked them, what's it cost to move a tree like that? And they said 100 to 200,000. So apparently a 54-inch diameter live oak is worth at least 150,000.
Apparently.
Yeah. So that's good to see. It's good to see that some developers care about, you know, natural habitat and want to, you know, preserve existing trees. So.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
See, the wife was a master naturalist or?
Is she?
Wife was?
Yeah, she is a master naturalist. I'm not sure if she's active. Carol Hawkins.
No, from the ones that moved the tree.
The developer's wife.
Oh, she might have been. That might have been why. Yeah, should have asked him that.
Carol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Carol's in our chapter.
yeah, she is. Yeah. Anyway, great people, next door neighbors, and me and Dick are really good friends now. And his son lives right behind me, and he has some bees too. So,
Cool.
Well, I won't go on any longer. Any questions for me? All right. Oh, I do have a question. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned a 7-week course, like it had to do with earth kind.
Oh, it's so our landscape success series. It's 7. Yeah, it's 7 classes throughout the year, January through August. It's designed for homeowners. Teach them about landscape management.
Nice.
It's on Zoom. It's free classes on Zoom.
I wondered if it was anything that master naturalists would get credit for, ours.
Yeah, well,
Wouldn't know that. No, totally not.
I get, maybe it depends on the topic, I don't know. Who's in charge of giving y'all credits? Jan?
Where's Cindy? Where's Cindy? Right there.
Make sure I get the information we'll look at.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yes, ma'am.
I have a question about native red mulberries.
Uh-huh,
It's a fruit tree, so I thought
Yep.
you might know. I've had trouble finding the native red mulberry. I keep being told that they've hybridized and nurseries aren't stocking the native ones. Do you know anything about why it's hard to find a native red mulberry to buy?
I've never
Hey,
looked at the
Jody,
bottom, but I.
repeat the question so we can.
Oh, okay, I'm supposed to repeat the question. So the question was, native red mulberries, where can you find them? She said trouble finding them, nurseries don't have them, but didn't find anything about them. Well, you can come to my house and I'll give you a couple, I've got like 4 of them in pots. Yeah, so Trees for Houston,
It's the way red mulberry.
yeah, that's where they came from. Trees, and I actually went to one of Trees for Houston event and picked up a few more of them. So Trees for Houston, that's one of the trees that they grow. And we do, the tree, giveaways we do every year, our master gardeners do. This year they had red mulberries, and also Dr. Hakeem, our Prairie A&M agent, he also gets trees from Trees for Houston and does some tree giveaways. So Trees for Houston's growing them. I don't know why nurseries don't, they're native. Maybe it's because there's not that much of a demand. People want to hybridize ones that are easier, I don't know, easier to grow or have special fruit. I don't know, I have a Pakistani mulberry tree also that I bought from Caldwell Nursery right down the road. And I planted that, but also planted a couple of native mulberry trees. Those are for the birds, the others is for me. Any other questions for me? Well, thank y'all for having me.